Welcome to the Authorpreneur Podcast, where we talk to authors and business owners about how they are using books to market themselves and their businesses. I'm your host, Chris Green, and in each episode of the Authorpreneur Podcast, we talk to a successful author and business owner to see exactly how they are using their books and author status to grow their businesses and serve their customers. We'll talk about what's working, the benefits of becoming a published author, and we may even come up with some creative new marketing strategies. In this episode of the Authorpreneur Podcast, I talk with Amanda Greaves, a motivational speaker, coach, and author of the Chameleon Diaries, Designing a Life Worth Changing For, a book about uncovering your true identity and discovering the path to self-acceptance. Through trials and tribulations, downfalls and triumphs, Amanda had been traveling through life with a set of values that didn't necessarily belong to her and wasn't aware of their misplacement until she had one too many breakdowns and heart-wrenching dramas fall within the pages of her life story. When she started to fully understand that she had the option to break the repeated habits that had been holding her back, she stepped into her natural empowerment, released herself from the strongholds of limiting beliefs, and shifted the direction of her life towards a clear and more fulfilling course of soulful-driven passion and purpose. Amanda's mission is to reach as many women and men that are carrying similar stories to hers and show them that there is a way past the feelings of being stuck, unworthy, and not enough. She believes in leading with her heart, and that's why she puts her heart into everything that she does. When she started to peel back the layers of uncertainty and doubt while writing the Chameleon Diaries, she discovered the truth behind all of the masks that she had been wearing for so many years, and she fell in love with herself, her process, and the desire to help others uncover their own destiny and reach their wildest dreams. I really think you're going to enjoy this episode. Saw that you put a lot of time into rehearsing your presentation and your launch of your book on your birthday. That sounds fun. I am so jealous, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I need to find a place like that local that we can do events like that.
I mean, the Cabot Theater, it holds 850 people. They have a smaller venue. I was like, no, I'm going to get as many people as I possibly can. And in hindsight, I probably should have gone to the smaller venue because I think there were just under 100 people in presence at the actual event itself. But I think there was about 30 people that watched virtually. And people are like, okay, you got to draw a line in the sand. And it's like, no, I'm getting my excavator out and I am digging a hole in the street. Once we get there, we either build a bridge or we fall in. And it was, I started writing my book. I think I keep saying last year at this time, but in March, I was like, oh, look at this. In April, I'm like, all right, I can get into this. And in May is when I really, really, really put my head to, my nose to the grindstone and started getting it done. And we can, if you're recording this now for the podcast, great, but we can get into all this stuff again too. But it's, I think I wrote it in record time and I said, that's it. I'm going to get it done for the 29th and I'm throwing myself a party because I need to get this business off the ground and I need to do it quick.
Well, sometimes having these external forces really helps. And
Yeah.
I've heard is this your first book that you ever published?
Yeah. I've never written a book before.
Most people never write a book at all. So you are
Right.
in exclusive company. So, I'm sure you felt this immense sense of pride and oh my gosh, I am a published author. This is amazing. Very few people have actually done this. And it opens up so many doors. And, so tell me, I do, as a published author myself, I felt this way. And I hear this from a lot of people. The book just has to come out to where you can't stop thinking about it. You really struggle to get other things done because you feel this need to work on it. Was it, you kind of have that similar experience?
I was fortunate to join Brand Builders Group, which is BBG. That's how I met Nick. And Brand Builders is based in Nashville, and they have this extraordinary system to get you from point A all the way around to point Z. And then maybe you bounce around a little bit within that sphere of how it works. And with their guidance and their strategy, that's how I was able to get the book done the way I did. But I have an interior design company that, through my presentation, through the book, I got to a point where I'm like, this is not bringing me joy anymore. I like my clients. I love construction. I think design is fun, but it just became too much of a job. And I got to a point where I'm like, I'm not doing this the way that I really want to. Plus, I was in a shitty relationship that was emotionally abusive. And a couple of years ago, I finally was just like, I'm not doing any of this anymore because everything was overlapped. And so when I started writing the book, fortunately for me, my design company is 13 years old and I have some amazing people that are working with me. They're working for me. And it was a long time coming. COVID gave us the opportunity for me to acknowledge that I was in the burnout zone. And so we had already started working on the transfer of responsibilities, and now we're working on transfer of ownership and what that really means based on some of the concepts that I've put in the book, how my new business partner wants to move forward. And so I was fortunate that I had set the company up in a manner that they were doing what we were all doing. And I literally set up a new table in my house, didn't go into the office, and just dialed in. Like, a lot of people say, gosh, it was so rainy last summer. And I was like, I didn't notice, because I was inside writing. I wanted to sit on my back deck and write, but I would get distracted and the whole thing. And I literally stayed inside for so much of the summer because I took all the distractions, like all of them. And, probably June, July, August, and a good portion of September, I was like attached to my computer screen, writing.
Well, that's the
So
nice part of the year up here where, it
I know.
snows. I'm not from New England. I'm originally from Canada.
Okay.
Went to high school and college in Texas, and my wife's from here. So we moved back here about 14 years ago. And I didn't realize, like, it can snow here in September, and it
Yeah.
can snow here in May. And it's
Well, yeah.
like, that only leaves like 4 months where there's no possibility of snow. And you
Well,
spent those 4 months tied to your computer writing a book. Although I'm sure you're glad you did, because now you have the accomplishment of a finished product.
I do. And I think one of the bigger things that I've acknowledged is if it didn't happen then, I would have come up with another reason, another excuse, another, procrastination method of not getting it done. And I feel that once I made the decision, once I carved that line in the street with my excavator and said, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm making some serious changes, I'm shifting, it was, why wait? Why wait to do any of this? If this is what you want, Amanda, go get it. Stop stopping yourself. Go get it. So what if the sun's shining? You can go for a walk later on. And because I'm evolving at a pace that I know, which is it's pretty intense, and I love it. And I'm excited for the trajectory that I'm actually on right now. If I didn't write that book when I wrote it, it would end up being a totally different book, because I've changed enough that the topics would have changed enough that the stories would have remained the same, but my interpretation, or the ones that actually landed in the book, would have been different.
Sure.
Because my shift would have been so dramatic. And, when I started writing it, it was I hate this guy. He's a narcissist, da 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 da. And then, thankfully he only landed in a few chapters.
You can always update your book, right? You can update the manuscript. And did you do it through KDP, or did you do like a little bit of a hybrid publishing, or how did you publish?
It's a good question. I'm still learning all the vocabulary. I used Story Builders. They're out of Georgia for my editing company. And so they primarily, their imprint, as I've learned, is more thought leadership, business help genre, if you will. But the communication and the connection was strong from the first conversation. So the owner of that company said, I've got an editor that would be wonderful for you. Would you consider utilizing us as your editors? And then we can walk you through the process of doing your own self-publishing, but starting your own imprint. So I came up with an imprint name, 229 Publishing.
I get it now. Not everybody's going to get that, but a lot of people.
Not everybody's going to get it, but they will. And it is a hybrid, if you will, but it's definitely more of a self-publish. So it's through Ingram, KDP, all that stuff.
Okay, good. So you can log into KDP and you can order your own copies and you can adjust prices.
Yes,
awesome.
yes. I learned how to do all that stuff, I was like, whoa.
There's a lot in there. I'm guessing you don't know that I can go in and see that your book has normally been $19.99. However, Amazon has discounted it significantly down to $8, starting on.
I discounted it, and I was meant to do it specifically for the event, because I was going to do the book for $8.29 and the Kindle for $4.29, and I forgot to go in, and then I didn't realize it takes 3 days for those things to kick in. So, and then once it kicks, like the whole thing. So I'm going back in today to adjust the pricing again, so it goes back up to the normal price. So 3 days from now, it's going to be a normal price again.
Sometimes they update it faster than that. They do say it could be 72 hours from the update.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's faster. Hopefully you're not worried about this seller who's selling your book for $27.93.
No, who's that?
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
I guess it
So
doesn't.
what will happen is, of course, if someone buys your book, they can resell it if they choose to. They can sell it on Amazon.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about it. They can sell it for whatever price they want. But what you usually see is there will be multiple sellers who are selling your book for a price higher than Amazon. And you'd be like,
And-
well, why would they even do that? Who's going to buy it? Like they have to pay for shipping. It's going to be slower. It's not Prime eligible. But because on Amazon, you can list things for free, right? So listing a book for sale, say, hey, I have this book for $30. If they magically get a sale, they're just going to buy it from Amazon and ship it to them. It's just so unlikely that they will, but it's not zero, right? It is technically possible that someone clicks through and buys their book. So as a new author, I'm just passing this on to you. You're going to see that. Don't worry about it. They're not going to sell it. They don't actually even have your book in stock.
Did they even have, yeah, because I was on
No, they don't
was
even
it
have it.
Chameleon, or there was like some other thing I've never heard of before, and they were like, "Oh, we have 50 in stock," and I'm like, "I haven't sold that many books."
I mean, they can get 50 if they get that order. They'll go to Amazon and get 50, and you'll get those sales. You'll get those royalties. So just passing that on. That is not anything you need to worry about. As a first-time author, once you see it, you're like, "What? I didn't. How did they even get it?"
Right? Yeah.
They don't have it. They're just saying they have it. On a off chance that someone wants to pay over retail for a book with slower shipping than Amazon. So
Yeah.
I can see your sales rank. So there's a website. It's completely free to use. KEEPA
Hang on.
Keepa.com.
I'm going on there right now. KEEPA.com.
Yep. So they help people kind of track Amazon prices, because you don't want to like buy that mixer for like $300 and then like you find out, oh, for Pete's sakes, like twice a month they discount it to $200. Now I'm kind of frustrated that I overpaid. So they'll let
Right.
you look at historical pricing, so you can see, oh, hey, like before Christmas this goes on sale, I'm going to wait and buy it, kind of thing. And you can also set a price alert, so you can say, hey, if this item ever drops to this price, please let me know, and they'll send you an alert. It all works through the Amazon affiliate program.
Got it.
Uh, but they do have, for sellers or even for authors, the ability to track sales rank. So I can go in and I can see, and actually you can probably see it. They have a great extension. It's completely free to install. I recommend doing that in Chrome. So I can see the statistics, so I can see your all-time best sales rank. I can see your all-time lowest price.
Oh, wow.
I don't mean your personal lowest price, but the
Right.
lowest price of this item or any item on Amazon. So you can pull a lot of information from it. And I like to look at it, especially when I'm talking to different authors, to see if they have ever discounted their Kindle book, for promotion. Of course, if they
Right.
haven't, I'm like, oh my gosh, you totally need to take advantage of the Kindle promotional opportunities, because they're great.
So Kindle has promotional opportunities as well.
Right. So if you enroll in the KDP Select program, which is free
Okay.
to do, the only caveat to that is they want your digital book, to be exclusive on Amazon during the 90-day period. So you're not supposed to have it on Google Books or anything like that.
See, now I wouldn't know how to ask people to not put it on like BAM or.
No, that's not what they mean. They just mean the Kindle version, the ebook version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's not anything you need to worry about. My book, I am always just happy. Amazon does like everything I needed to do as an author, right? Like,
That's cool.
do I need to be on Barnes and Noble? I guess. However, I don't think many people are buying. People don't stumble onto my books and buy them. They buy them because they've seen a video and you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm just happy to be on Amazon. So, and it is, this KDP Select thing is a 90-day renewal. So if you want to, you don't have to stay in it if you don't want to. But when you're in it, you get access to 2 additional promotional options. One's called a Kindle countdown deal. So you price your book at like 99 cents, and it says, hey, in 12 hours, it's going to go to $1.99. Some people are like, oh, I better buy it now. Your book is probably better than my books for things like that. Those types of promotions, in my opinion, work best on, fiction, romance novels, things like that, where, people are like, oh, I'm not going to pay another dollar. Like, if someone's going to buy your book, they're not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to pay $2 for it. I might pay $1, Amanda, but not 2. Like, no, they're going to buy your book.
I mean, ideally, you get the friends that call you and they say, well, I did see that it was cheap. That's probably one of the reasons why I called. And I said, yeah, I put it down the price. And they said, well, text me when the price goes back up again.
Yeah, because they want to support you.
You worked really hard on this, and I want to make sure that you get the royalties. And I'm like, God, this is great. Thank you.
It's nice to have friends that actually want to support you.
Isn't it? I know.
So, well, I mean, tell me this before I tell you a little bit more, because I want to hear about the book as well. I'm happy to talk about, book promotion options as well. what is your specific plan for the book? Like, how are you using the book for your personal brand, for your business? What is your plan around that?
So, and it's interesting because, like I said, I needed to get this book written fast because I feel like I'm on a very fast trajectory right now. And I plan on utilizing the book as a tool. Ideally, just as any author, I would like to get this book into as many hands as many people as I possibly can so they can avoid some of the heartbreaking drama and professional chaos that I've endured over the course of my life. That are some of the stories that are within the book, some of the lessons that are underlying. And it's not a matter of, hey, I made this mistake, don't do it. It was, hey, here's what I learned by not listening to my intuition. Here's what I learned when I realized I was repeating the same mistakes or repeating the same habits over and over and over again. Here's what I learned when I finally stopped and said, God, Amanda, I can't take one more day of any of this stuff. Like, I just can't take it anymore. And realizing that I'm at the center of that storm. I was the eye of all of the things that were happening around me. And in order to stop it from swirling, I really needed to fold in on myself and understand what was happening. Through the process of writing the book, through the process of doing the digging in and the digging in of like, how deep can I get versus peeling back the layers to uncover what was underneath, started probably about 5 years ago. But the writing process became incredibly cathartic, and just organically, as the book aligned itself with the chapters, so did the steps of what it is that I am now best positioned to be teaching others. I'm utilizing the book now as a tool, but it is also for the coaching and consulting aspect of what my readers or what my potential clients will be looking for. How do I get out of a shitty relationship? How can I break these patterns of low self-worth? Why am I not paying attention to the red flags? Or, can you help me, Amanda, figure out what's been stopping me from really owning what's been going on with myself and making those changes? And so the book is a tool towards the coaching and consulting. And it is really paving the way of what let's call it the order of events would be. If somebody were to sign up for, call it a 10 session or 6-month snippet, if you will, we would start at the beginning and we'd work our way through it. And I look at it more as a coaching aspect to help people just get out of their own way.
Sure. I love that you're already on the mentality of like, I just want to get this book in as many people's hands as possible and use that as like the gateway to your other offerings, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
coaching, consulting. I know you're working on a course as well.
Yep.
Yeah, that's perfect. Like you've already, I don't know if you feel like you stumbled into this kind of perfect model, or if you like, wait a minute, I see a perfect model here using books as the gateway to this other stuff. But however you got here, it's very powerful. I assure you.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. And you know what? I can feel that. I can feel it here. And like I mentioned, the Brand Builders Group was the company where they have their strategies, and I've worked around it. I didn't necessarily go in the same order that they say this is the best order for what they have presented. I went in the order that felt right for me at the time, based on what I had going on at the time. And the days leading up to my birthday, where I had had a conversation with my coach a couple weeks earlier, and she said, Amanda, this is what you were meant to do. You have finally been able to focus on what your soul's work really, really means to you and how it's going to positively affect other people. Enjoy it, live in it. And I have been practicing awareness. I have been practicing being present more so than ever. And the 2 or 3 days leading up to February 29th, which was my book launch, which was my big event at the Cabot Theater in Beverly, it was uncanny. I don't want to call it coincidental. It was divine intervention. Everything happened at the right time. Somebody called. I thought about somebody. The phone would ring. I got to Staples early, hoping that they would have printed something off. It's going to take 10 minutes. I went down and got, like, everything just I picked people up from the airports. Like we got on the highway and all the cars got out of our way. Like, and I'm not making this stuff up, but that's how the 72 hours leading up to my moment of standing on that stage, presenting my book to the world felt. And every time I turned around, I was like, okay, all right. And it was like, I'm getting chills just reliving it, but it made me realize, yeah, Amanda, the path that you've been on for the last 40 something years, it's been hard. You've made it really, really hard. But when I finally got the chance to step back, write it all down, put my focus in a different direction, oh, look at how much easier it can be if you just allow that divine intervention, if you will, if you pay attention to the messages and allow it to flow through you as opposed to aggressively going against the grain. It's really been eye-opening and amazing.
I would guess that you would say like the first 40 years, you learned some lessons, and it kind of led you to all the like to be able to see and acknowledge some of these things.
Yeah.
You might not been able to do that without the history of going against the grain and swimming against the current. I mean, and it's one of those great things I tell my kids all the time is like, learn as much as you can from other people, not necessarily from their mistakes, but in a way from their mistakes. If someone's made a mistake and they're like, dude, don't do this because this is what will happen. Be like, okay, I don't need to do that in order. But there are going to be some things that they have to learn the hard way. And I just want to minimize those things. I don't want to, like baby them or anything. Like I do want them to make their own decisions. And there are some times where my recommendation is going to be wrong, and they're gonna have to figure some of these things out. But to learn as many things as you can from other people, that's kind of like the fast track way. Instead of like, you don't have to make every single mistake.
No, apparently I felt like I had to. Just ask my parents.
Everybody's different, But like all of your mistakes have led you to a place where you are now a published author, and it sure sounds from like the tone of your voice that you are really excited about where things are going in your life right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not about looking back and being like, oh, I can't believe I made all these mistakes. It's like, hey, look at where I am. I'm here, and I know who I am because of these things I've been through. And you're taking all that and saying, look, I am going to write all these things down. I'm going to kind of archive them in a sense. I'm going to put them on a medium that anybody in the world can get access to these words literally in seconds or minutes through the Kindle version, right? And like even the physical version can be delivered to pretty much most places in the world in under 2 days through Amazon, completely out of your hands. Like it's like, I still think self-publishing is amazing. Even if some people
so daunting.
But it's so amazing in the sense of like this is how I try to describe self-publishing. Once you put in the work of creating the book, and it can be a short book, it doesn't have to be a long book, right? It just has to be a book. It can be a coloring book for all I care. You now have a product on Amazon, the world's largest and most trusted marketplace internationally. And when it sells, they do all the work and you get money. That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and people kind of miss that. They're like, yeah, but I can't write a book. I was like, you can write a sketchbook, a notebook, a journal. Like, you can take an online course and turn that content into a book. You can transcribe podcast episodes and turn it into a book. It can be 24 pages long, which is 12 pieces of paper, and be a book. It's so beneficial to have it, because I come from a background of selling on first on eBay and then on Amazon. So these are physical products. It's inventory that you have to purchase and store and fulfill. And yeah, it's great. You have an Amazon product. When it sells, well, I got to go ship it, or you have Amazon ship it, but you have to pay for that inventory. With self-publishing, you don't even pay. Like,
I know.
It's just free. I do keynotes about this, and people come up to me afterwards, and I joke about this because it always happens this way. They lean in and they kind of look both ways, and they're like, how much does this really cost? And I'm like, it doesn't cost anything. Like, we can upload a book today, but it sounds so good to be true, or too good to be true. So they think there must be like a hidden cost, or like what's the catch? Is Amazon like the big bad guy in the room? And I'm like, they really aren't. They just don't want their printers to be sitting idle. So yeah, they'll print your book if they get an order. Who cares? Like,
well, they've from what I perceived as being an incredibly complicated process, it really isn't. Once you've gone through it once, it's like, oh, yeah, I can do this, no problem. And it was, but literally, and I've used this term, I think I'm going to stop using it now, maybe after this podcast. It was my first rodeo. First time I ever wrote a book. First time I ever went through editing. First time I ever uploaded anything. Oh, I'm going to do an electronic version? Okay, sure, I can do that too. First time of putting my feet on a stage and doing a big presentation, and it's been a year, like 2024 has been a year of firsts for me, and it's been outrageously fun, and
Yeah, it's
learning how
only
to,
March.
it's
Yeah.
only March. I mean, imagine what the next 9 months are going to be. And it just, for me, it is, I want to be able to share these kinds of really now awesome experiences with people as I continue to grow. I want to continue to contribute, and I want my contribution to be able to guide others, and like what you're doing now. You have all of this knowledge and all of this content in here, and you're psyched to be able to share it with people. I
Yeah.
think it's great.
It's like the perfect, like when this, I'm trying to find a great way to really encapsulate this, where people say, like, if you find a job that you love, you never work a day in your life. And I think there's
Mm-hmm.
a different level to that, to where, like, I use like a teacher, for example. I'm sure teachers love to teach, they love what they do. But if you stop paying them, they're only so long that they're going to keep going to work,
Yeah.
you know? However, when it comes to self-publishing, I will talk about this with anybody who will listen for the foreseeable future,
Yep.
because it's just exciting. And like to talk to somebody and be like, oh my gosh, like the marketer in me, when I hear somebody who has a very marketable story, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so jealous of your story because it's so marketable. And what frequently happens is they're like, really? You're jealous of my story? Because they look at me as like, oh, you're already published and you're doing all these things. Like you have a, I'm like, your story is unique to you. You can't make up a story, right? I mean, you can
Right.
try, but like, it won't, in my opinion, won't work long term. But everybody has some kind of story that you can use to get attention. And if you can get people's attention, you have something of value to give. I recommend putting that in a book, because now you have a product. You elevate your status immediately by achieving published author status.
It's
Um,
amazing. All of a sudden, people are like, oh my God, you're a published author. And I remember when I first put that title on my LinkedIn before it was published, I'm like, this feels like I'm a fraud. And they're like, not for long, like it's there. And now it's like, yes, I'm a published author. What?
and people treat you different, right? Like in a good way.
They're treating me the same, I think. I don't know.
Once you publish a book, like it is easier, in my opinion, to get on podcasts, to speak on stages, to get invited to events. If
I have
someone is,
the tool. I can talk about the tool. People can flip the pages while we're in the conversation
yeah,
instead of me being like, yeah, I'm doing it. It's not tactile yet. Now it
but
is.
having a physical product is just night and day. Like it's almost like a cheat code or a shortcut. Um, and I don't like to even say the word shortcut sometimes, because I don't want people to try to take the shortcut. This only
Uh,
works if you have created a book that's actually good and has a lot of value in it. Then yes, this is a shortcut. Because
right.
if you compare two people, one person, they're both experts in their field, but one has a book. For better or for worse, if people are looking at them like, well, this guy literally wrote the book on it, so I'm gonna go with this guy.
Yeah.
It's an easy way to differentiate. And there's nothing stopping the other guy from also writing a book. He just hasn't done that and gone through that process. So if you're able to go through that process and write that book, and like I loved exactly how you explained it. We're like, I thought it was going to be hard, and then I did it, and it actually wasn't that hard. That's exactly what I tell everybody that I work with. Is like, I promise by the end of this, you're going to say, wow, Chris, that was just as easy as you said it was. And
Well,
what
it's
happens? Go ahead.
the publishing part is oh, that's easier. Writing the book,
Oh, writing's hard. Yeah.
that's hard.
But the
The
actual
last,
publishing is
yeah,
uploading
the
two
actual
files.
publishing is like, oh, I got this, no
Yeah.
problem.
But people who haven't
No,
done it, they think it's going to be hard. It's like, oh,
yeah,
it's got to be a really hard process to create this Amazon product page. I'm like, Amazon's going to do it all for you. Okay.
right.
Give it a title, a price, a description, an interior file, and a cover file, and you're done. Like, that's
Well,
literally all it is.
and not only that, we had to go through and it's, throw in your author information. What's your bio? And like I said, I had already gotten my bio sorted out and set up and ready to roll. I had a new website. Like I literally stuck my flag in the ground and was like, all right, I'm going to start this new business. This is multiple business. This is based on this book. And around this business, plural, around this book, around this. And it's like, well, I need a website. Okay, I only need 3 pages. Are you kidding me? By the end of this month, my website's probably going to have at least 6 pages that are available for people to look at, because, you know, the contraction of me staying in the house writing the book all summer, like locking myself in, making sure that I stayed focused to get the work done. I literally am now in a phase of full-blown expansion where it's like, all right, let's add this. I got all the content for it. It's just a matter of going through the motions. I've got the content for this. Let's do that. This is next. Of course I can do a keynote on empowering change. Of course I can do a keynote on toxic relationships. Let's do this. Sign me up. I'm ready to roll. I've already got one. I've got video. My sizzle reel's on the way. Those types of things. It's just starting to flow.
Do you have like a list so that you're making sure that you're doing the right ones in the right order and not getting distracted by, this seems really fun. I was like, yeah, that's fun, but that's not going to move things forward the way, that's, I say that as someone who struggles with that myself. I'm like, ooh, I'll frequently text Nick, like, hey, we should do this. And Nick's like, we should. However, we need to do this first. I'm like,
yep.
You're right, Nick. Well, we're going to put that on the back burner because I like this.
Yep.
Especially as a marketer. Better. Well, good. So yeah, because I saw your website. It's simple. It's clean, which is perfect. Like don't. So as you say, I'm going to add this and add this. Part of me saying, slow down, focus on like the main pages that you want. Like use the book to drive people to like an email sign up. Or if you're putting together, I'm assuming you're putting together your course content right now.
Yep.
Yeah, you've got all the right pieces. You just have to continue to put them together. It's almost like a puzzle. I actually I don't have it here, but I actually got like one of those little wooden puzzles that's like 6 pieces that only go together like one way. I painted them all different colors and I put different like websites on them. Like you need to have the blue one for Facebook and you need to have the like that was it teal? What would you call Twitter's color? Like that light blue and an orange one for Amazon. And the example I tried to give is, and I had like way more than 6 pieces. So I'd like take a video and I'd be like, look, here's 80 pieces of the internet, right? Now you're probably overwhelmed. You're like, well, I don't even know which, do I need Shopify? Like, I don't know, maybe, but maybe not. So there's kind of 2 phases to it. It's like, one, let me help you find the pieces that you need, right? And we're gonna get rid of the pieces that you don't, because how on earth are you gonna do a puzzle if you don't even know which pieces you need?
Right.
And now you have the pieces, but there's a second problem. Like you don't know how they go together. So I would show, this is how you put them together. And if you have these 2 things, and I would hold up the puzzle and be like, now you can put it together. Because I've talked to so many people, like they struggle with, I need to add this. And or what was it? When Pinterest started getting hot, people were like, oh, should I start a Pinterest account? I'm like, Pinterest has like 1/800th the users of Facebook. Okay, like whatever the numbers was, it was not even close. It's like, no, you should be spending time where all of your customers are, right? Not on this shiny little Pinterest thing. And it's not about like being right or wrong in the moment. It's like, no, Pinterest right now is too early. It doesn't align with your brand. None of your customers are there. So even though it seems cool and fun, wait on it. And maybe a year from now, Pinterest will make sense, but it's like having that kind of self-control that sometimes I struggle with, of like trying to do too many things at once.
Well, it's so interesting that you say that too, because it's the return on investment, right? Like, what is all of this time that I'm spending trying to figure out how to do Instagram reels? What is that really going to bring me as far as the sales of the book, as far as booking speaking engagements, and as far as getting clients for the courses and for the coaching? Because I don't have a huge following today. I will I will moving forward. And it is, but there's this saying out there, you can have millions of followers and, maybe 1% of that actually converts into actual clients, or you could have, 1,000 followers and you've got 80% conversion. And so it depends on who you're out there looking for. I don't need thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, but I need to ensure that the content, that where I'm spending my time, is where the return on my investment is going to happen. So there was a few days where I'm like, oh God, I haven't posted anything. And I was like, I don't care. Like I do, but I don't. The people that are going to be there, they're going to be there, whether they can see a reel or a picture or a story or not. And now it's a matter of, all right, now I've got my strategy on how I'm going to continue to move forward. And eventually I'm going to get some smart college kid or somebody in their early 20s to help me figure out how to do it all and just say, here, you want a job? Let's do this, and go from there. But I'm finding that, like I'm in the world right now where I'm getting in touch with every bookstore I can within a 50-mile radius of where I live right now. And thankfully I live on the water, so I only have to go west, north, west, and south. And my goal is I want my book, not just on the big, online retailers, but I want it in the mom and pop shops. I want it in the brick and mortar. I want to be able to support my local entrepreneurs that are running their own companies as well, because to me, it's, again, it's about growth and it's about contribution. And I want to be able to contribute back to my community, back into this world that I have just jumped into. And I'm like, hey, I'm here. But then I'm like, no, I want to support you too, because you've been here a lot longer than I have. This bookstore has been here for 65 years. Of course, I want to go and hang out with the owner. I want to understand if my book makes sense being on these shelves. How does this look for you? Instead of just calling and saying, hi, can I put my book in your bookstore? Oh, okay, great. What do I need to do? And having those connections, getting those conversations, working with the people. Because I'm finding that, Amazon's the most amazing thing ever, but that brick and mortar, that face-to-face, that one-off, to me, that's where the connections, that's where the clients are. That's where the future really lives in that sense.
There's not going to be a replacement to in person for a long time for the foreseeable future. But for reaching people on the West Coast or international, like yes, having a book on Amazon is the best way to do that, or video or streaming, whatever it might be. Definitely you can use social media to connect with people. So I think it's smart for you to have kind of a double approach to it. Like, look, I'm not exclusively local, but I'm not going to ignore local. Why would I ignore local? I would make the case, I would enjoy local more. I would enjoy going and doing book signings and Q&A events and all these things with real people. No, that would be fun.
I've got 2 or 3 lined up for the end of this month, which is currently March. And I'm very, very fortunate. I have family out in Salt Lake. I have friends out in Denver, Colorado. I have some friends out in San Diego. So I've got Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm literally taking the show on the road, and I am getting in touch with those local bookstores. And I am ideally going to be working with them and saying, hi, I'm going to be out there on this particular weekend. Is it possible for us to meet? And can we do a book signing?
That would be so much fun. I mean, I'm happy to give you advice on that if you want any.
Yes, I would love advice on
that. So the way I would do it is, I would do author copies, of course.
Yeah.
Very affordable. And it's depending, I would almost go straight to it and say, look, I will give you 40 copies of my book, basically on consignment.
Yeah.
No money to you. And I will be posting about your store on social media. It's tough to guarantee hey, I'm going to get this many people to come to your store for a book signing, because, it's hard to really connect cold through social media, specifically local, and get them to take the action to actually go to a store. Can't really guarantee that, but you can say, look, I'll bring books on consignment. I will share about you and your store on my social media channels. And we'll do a book signing, and we'll do a Q&A, and we'll take pictures, and you can use pictures on your social media, and I'll use pictures on mine. And then any pictures and videos that you can use, I would say once you have a little bit of a reel of 6 different places that you've been and you put them all together, that establishes credibility online to where you can post a short video like, this Amanda, she's at all these, I didn't even know people did book signings anymore. And she's all over the place. She's in different cities, but it kind of removes any barrier to say, look, you have to buy this many. And they're like, I don't even know who you are. You want me to spend money? It's like, don't spend money. I will literally bring you the books on consignment.
I'll bring a chair, a table, and a pop-up tent and a box of books if you let me hang out on your sidewalk for 2 hours on a sunny Saturday afternoon.
Or in store or whatever.
I'll pay you to let me do that.
No, don't go that far. Don't go that far. Make them be a little invested in you, because you want them to say, hey, we have this local author. She's doing this. She has an exclusive offer. Anybody that buys the book on this day, what else can you give? Could you give access to your course, or a trial, bonus video content? What else can you give to make it exclusive and make it a destination where hey, only if you come will you get this, and this.
That's what I did for my event. I created, obviously I've got the book, but then I created these bookmarks, and the bookmark is clearly, and it has my website on the back of it, which takes you right to where all the information is. But there's a QR code on the front that takes you to the resource page of what all the information is in here. So everybody that came to the event got a bookmark. And this resource page, if I had this, it's 7 printed pages, and every day I'm like, oh, I got to add this. Oh, so every couple days it just keeps getting updated. And for me, I feel I wanted I wanted whoever came to my event to feel empowered when they left. I want whoever has read my book or who is reading my book to feel empowered, to finish it and just be like, holy crap, I can totally do this. Like, this is great. Yeah, I relate to her. And yes, I definitely want to be able to do these things. And so it's the giver's gain, it's the concept of just whatever I have the ability to give, I want people to benefit from it. And yeah, I love that. I love the idea of the bonus video content because that's definitely coming down the pike.
I just went down a whole other road of ideas. If you say you have this resource list, it's already 7 printed pages. It's basically, you're saying it's just like links and like just kind of I think you could easily, especially now that you know the self-publishing process, you could take that resource list and make it into a second publication. It doesn't need to be long.
I already
right?
have one.
You can publish it. It's more than 24 pages.
No, but I have other things that are more than 24 pages. So when you get to page 2, this one, which by the way, in future references, I would actually put this at the end of the book because I realized that some of the online publishers give you the first so many first pages. So now anybody can go on. Shh. Anybody can go on and get this link. But
No,
the point.
That's good. That's good.
It's good. And what it does is at the end of every chapter, I have these sections that are called Dear Diary. And so in the Dear Diary section, there's 3 or 4 questions that prompt the reader to think about the lesson that I just talked about during my story in that particular chapter. And, this one is like, as you've read this, you may have remembered your own aha or pivotal moments where decisions or drama subsequently shaped your next move. What were they? Let's think about it. And just
Sure.
little things. And then there's the Cliff Notes version. So I have a reader transformation guide, which is the Cliff Notes version of each chapter.
That was the next thing I was going to say is if you had a workbook or a guide or like something that made a whole lot of sense to go along with the book.
Yeah.
And then I would price that a little bit higher. I mean, you could go both ways, having like a lower price or a higher price, but it could easily be, especially now that you know what it costs to order an author copy.
Yeah.
You could say, hey, come to this event, buy the book from so-and-so's bookshop, and I will give you this additional bonus book for free.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, this is great. And you're like, yeah, this costs like $2.50. Like, I don't mind giving this away because, because if they sell the book, it's on consignment. So you're going to get, the ones they sell, they're going to have to reimburse you for it. So
right.
It's $20. You say, look, consignment. If you sell it, you give me $10 or whatever agreement you come to. Even if you give it away, you're still making money. The customer is like, this is amazing. Like especially if you priced it like $20 for the workbook, they're like, get the free workbook off Amazon. They're going to feel like they got a $20 value. It's kind of like when things are discounted at the store.
Yeah.
Like, so if you save $80 on a product, the store is kind of hoping that you saved $80, and now you're thinking, well, I just saved $80, so I can go spend $80.
Well, or the book bundle. The book is priced at $20. The Dear Diary full-blown like workbook journal, I could price that out at another 10 or 15. The Reader Transformation Cliff Notes, I could expand that out with the resources. That would be at least 15, and I could turn around and say, hey, you get all of it for $30.
Yep.
Here's your bundle. Everything's printed, ready to roll.
Yep. You could tie like fancy little bows around it, make it put little gift bags. They just work with the store. They may have their own kind of gift bags.
So excited that we've had this conversation because this is now that I know how to upload into KDP. I mean,
that's the thing. That's the power. That's where I get excited. Once you know how, I've seen it in so many people's faces. Like, oh, wait a minute, I can publish this. Wait a minute, I can publish. I'm like, yes. Now you get it. We're not writing Harry Potter here. We're putting information onto paper. So what can we put on paper that people will find valuable? And I'm glad they put in QR codes. I published my first book with QR codes in 2014, and I had to include a whole chapter about how to find a QR code reader app because it was not built into the camera 10 years ago. Nobody knew what a QR code was. But now people are using them. And I get
QR codes everywhere. They're everywhere.
People get them. COVID kind of accelerated that process.
Yeah.
And I would say don't put too much information at the very back of the book because very few people get to the very back of the book. So
this is one thing that I'm actually very excited about, but also be very proud about is I've had more people comment on the fact that they were able to pick up my book and they read it in 2 or 3 sittings within 2 or 3 days. And I'm thinking, it's a 277 page book. And they're like, no, cover to cover. I read the whole thing in 2 days. And it's like, I guess that was a good read.
It's readable.
It's readable, so again, if you're into the content, of course you're going to want to learn more, but that to me was the biggest feather in my cap, was when people that I knew and didn't know were saying, Amanda, this is actually fun to read. You've got some pretty raw, some very vulnerable stories going on in here, but it's fun to read. I can feel myself in here. I want to read more. So that to me was a big win when I had some of those compliments come through. And so I'm very, very excited about that.
Well, we got to get your book in more people's hands. We got to get some reviews. We got to get people leaving reviews for the book.
Reviews, yes.
So there's ways to do that. I don't know if you have anything in the book that suggests or really encourages people to leave a review, because you can have a QR code that goes straight to the review page.
I might add that onto my book page.
Yeah, you can add it. You can add it all kinds of different places, and again, like, just let people know. So if I had to give you advice on your website that directs people back to the book, I'm glad you have your own .com. I'm a big domain nerd, so I'm glad you have. If anybody has your .com, it's you who has your .com. Yeah. Otherwise, someone else gets it. So you're sending people straight to Amazon. You're not collecting any emails off of your website, right?
I am. If they go into the subscribe section or in the connect section, and I should probably check that.
Yeah, there it is. Send me a note. So I would have some kind of incentive. And it would make a lot more sense once you have like these supplementary guides, or if you want to say, hey, get my 7-page.
Those are on there, yeah.
But give me your email address in exchange for this. And definitely do something. Do whatever you can to incentivize building that email list, because the email is, for the foreseeable future, people's home base on the internet, right? Like, if all of a sudden they stop showing your posts on Instagram to somebody, there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but you could always email people and say, look, I got this coming up. I'm doing a book signing at this event. I'm doing a workshop, or my course is coming out, and here's an early bird discount, whatever it might be. You're able to communicate directly with the people who are telling you by signing up, Amanda, I want to hear directly from you.
You know what? You're absolutely right, because there is I have a page that is where that QR code directs people from, but I do believe that there is a way that I can say, click here, enter in your email address, and then I'll send it to you.
Yeah. So it's the same thing. You're sending people straight to Amazon, which is good, because right now you're only on Amazon, right?
I'm everywhere. I'm on Books A Million. I'm on Barnes and Noble. I'm on websites I've never even heard of before.
So /book just it has a link that goes straight to Amazon.
Yep. And I think I'm going to adjust that because, like, it's the funniest thing. I'm in my website all the time. And so I will be adjusting where you can order it from. That was more just before I knew anything. And literally, this is a 2-week-old comment. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I didn't know that I was on all these other formats, and I had just published the book. So this is all happening in real time.
Oh, yeah. No, it'll happen fast.
I'm like, I haven't finished this yet. I know some of you have read the book, but I'm not done with this page.
So it's good that so I see you are collecting emails off that page, but it's at the bottom versus, like, I'm sure your website has some kind of like pop-up thing, so it can pop up a window, and that's where you like put a heavy incentive. Join my email list, and I will give you X, Y, and Z, and then you with the automated response, you just send them straight to Amazon or wherever you want.
You know what? I'm going to talk to my web designer and have her give me some help on that today. I think that's going to be great.
Yeah, because I'm so glad that you're already ahead of the game and saying, look, I just want to get my book into people's hands, and you're going to use the book kind of like as fuel for everything else, because getting your book in people's hands is fairly easy, especially valuable to you if your book is set up. And this is like, if I say I have one secret, this is the secret that I say I have, although I tell everybody, so it's not a secret, is make sure that you structure your book to where you benefit even if you give it away, because then you can just give it away. And people, I really hope people try to get away from, I want to make $1 million in royalties. I'm like, probably not.
It'd be great if I could sell 10,000 books, because that would happen, right? Or however.
Well, the book will lead to course sales and groups and memberships and things like that, because I'm assuming that's kind of where you want to take this, to build an online community of people who you're able to help, maybe in a one-on-one as well as in a group coaching setting.
You are 100% right. I am looking more on the group coaching setting. But of course, with that, there are the one-to-one elements that come along with that, because there is so much value in being able to connect individually with people. And so I am in the process of building those courses and building that curriculum. And I am going to be offering a, let's call it a cohort mastermind starting in May. So it's going to be the abbreviated version. It's going to run for 3 months. And at that point in time, I will be offering a discounted price only for, it's like the founding members. If you come in now, if you join with me now, if you are with me on this maiden voyage, if you will, and you start with me here, well, then keep going with me to the next one. And you'll already have a lot of the tools, a lot of the tricks, a lot of the advice and information. And so as it continues to grow, as this business evolves and becomes what it is meant to become, obviously the future in the demand of things is going to dictate where the pricing falls. But if people can come in and start joining me now, A, I can't wait to meet you, and B, I think it would be a great opportunity to learn from them as well as them learning from me, because that's, again, it's all a give and take aspect. So
you'll learn. You get the perfect setup. You have all the right pieces. Just keep putting them together. If you need advice on like what to use for a community, I'm happy to give you some of those things. We started using School, Skool.
Okay.
It's built by marketers, so it's not just like a Udemy or a Teachable or Thinkific or something like that. So yeah, when people join, you get their email address. You're able to send them messages and things like that.
Okay.
So we're playing around with that. It's proving to be a pretty useful place for online community. If I had to compare it to like a Facebook group, School is a Ferrari and a Facebook group is a bicycle. Like it's not even a car kind of thing. So, and I'm not trying to like say School is the end all, but comparing community aspects, like School, and of course School's not free. It's about $100 a month to run a group.
Okay.
But it has features that are actually useful instead of, of course with Facebook it's free, so you don't really get to complain about it.
Right.
But it has, Facebook groups leave a lot to be desired if you're really trying to build a community, especially a paid community.
I'm not a huge fan. Like as soon as Instagram came out, it took me forever to get on Facebook to begin with. And then I got overly saturated with it with a lot of my Tony Robbins groups that I had been involved in. There are free Facebook
I'm sure
groups.
there's a ton. Yeah.
Tons. And it's, there's an app for that. So it's just overwhelming for me because I'm not a tech person. I'm becoming one, but I'm not one. And people are like, do a free Facebook group. And I'm thinking to myself, if I don't believe in it, if I don't have the confidence behind it, I'm not going to run it properly. I would rather keep it in a space where it works. I am just above that age bracket, or just in that upper echelon of the age brackets where it's like Facebook. I can find a million other things that I would rather be doing with my time. So, I'm dancing around whether a private Facebook group is going to be part of my community aspect or not. So
I'll tell you right now, it's not. Don't bother. Especially if you're charging. Like if you're charging, then you need to use something a little more professional. If you're not charging enough to be able to do $100 a month on School, then you're not charging enough in the first place. Right. And even if you're charging a little, you don't need that many members to cover the $100. And then there's no ads and there's no distractions of just being on Facebook, and like they leave the group very quickly because they get another notification.
Yeah.
Have you ever read the 80-20 rule?
Yeah. Well, that's my life.
Yeah. So have you read 80-20 Marketing?
No.
It's a great book. I got it on. I bought it. I got it on Audible, and then I bought it anyway because it was such a good book.
Same thing.
A lot of people do, which is why I recommend have multiple formats, because you might actually sell 2 copies of the same book. I got a stack of books here that I know I bought both copies of. So 80-20 Marketing, the big takeaway for me was realizing that 80-20, out of the 80-20, that 20, there's an 80-20 in there. And that just kind of blew my mind. I was like, oh, for peace sakes, of course there is, right? So if you have 1,000 people buy your book, probably, or you tell 1,000 people about your book, 200 of them are going to buy it, right?
Yeah.
Now, out of that 200, 20% of those, so 40% of those, or 40 people are going to buy your course, right? Or join your membership, or whatever it is. And out of that 40, 20% of those are going to want one-on-one coaching. So that's 8 people.
Yeah.
Right. So they're the high ticket. They're the ones who are going to pay you, a lot of money.
Those are the 8 people I want.
Yeah, but that's how you find the 8 people, is by writing a book and creating a course and a membership and having a way to get your book into 1,000 people's hands. Like that's how you find it. But if you forget that, if like, oh, I don't know, I don't even want to know what I would offer those 8 people. Well, figure out beforehand what you're going to offer those 8 people, because you will find those 8 people who just want more. You're like, I've seen a bunch. I know who Tony Robbins is, but Amanda, you're the one I want to work
She
with.
speaks my language. I can hear you when you're talking, and that's just it. It's not as if I am recreating the wheel and coming up with these, the Celestine prophecy type concepts of The Secret and all of that stuff that was out 20, 30 years ago. It's my version of what a lot of these ideas are. And yes, I am coining some phrases in my own terminology and in my own mindset. But I'm hoping that the way that it comes out from me through my experiences, that I can connect with other people so they can now hear the same messages that I've been hearing, but in a different capacity.
I mean, that's the secret in a sense. And feel free to steal this quote unquote secret. But people, the words don't matter, right? The message isn't the same. People spend thousands. I use Tony Robbins as an example all the time. People spend thousands of dollars to go see Tony Robbins say the same thing that he says on YouTube for free.
Yeah.
Right. But
have you ever been to a Tony Robbins event?
I have not. I watched the Tony Robbins documentary on Netflix. I thought it was fascinating. So I get it, and I use it as an example of like what's different. Like why do people all of a sudden take the advice when it's not the advice that's the difference, and it's understanding. Give me your example.
Yeah, I'll tell you, because I jumped on his train in 2018 and I stayed on it. I'm still on it to a certain degree. He does give you all of the information online for free, but for him, and for a lot of other people as well, it's the order in which they give it to you at these events. It's the quantity in which they give it to you at these events. It's how they weave these things together at these events that make it more impactful in who you are as the individual. And so, yes, I continue to learn a ton online by watching the videos and all of those things, but physically being in the presence of that kind of energy it is legit transformative. And that was part of what my speech was when I was doing my book launch, where I was like, if you ever have a chance to go, please go. But if you don't, right now, this is where I'm hoping to be able to expel this energy to the people that are here. And I hear you. I've been to the same event 4 times. It's the same event every single time. But you know what? He doesn't change much at all. Same stories, same content, same orders, same guests, same everything. I'm changing. And so every single time I go, or every time I've watched it, live virtually, something else has been peeled back from me. Something else has been exposed from me, where it's allowing me to hear different messages each time. And which is, I think, one of the most powerful aspects of it. And, it's just, I think that repetitive full immersion experience is what worked for me. Now, there's a lot of people out there that are like, nope, I'm not doing it, but something's working for you, Amanda. Maybe you can teach me how. Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
You can be, I think the Netflix thing was called I'm Not Your Guru or something.
Your guru. Yeah.
But you, Amanda, can be someone's guru. And I say this as someone who's had people look up to me. Like I've done so many different things, related to Amazon as a public figure, as a software provider, as a group, admin, as a author, to where I get that sometimes there's people who look up to me as their guru. We're like, if I'm kind of working with somebody, they're like, really, Chris, do you really think my story is marketable? And I'm like, yes, I do. And they needed to hear me say it. And I joke with them a little bit. I'm like, I'm just a guy, right? Like, there's nothing special about me. I'm glad that because I have confidence in you, that you're now able to take these steps. But please see it for what it is. Like nothing has changed with you. You had this power all along. But I'm able to like step back and realize that the way that people work is like, we need people that we look up to. Whether it's somebody with celebrity status or just some kind of accomplishment. And when they see something in us, then all of a sudden it changes in our brains. And for better or for worse, if it works, then lean into it. To be like, hey, like there's some people, if Tony Robbins grabbed them by the shirt and screamed in their face, they'd be like, my life has changed forever. Perfect.
And somebody would be like, get this big guy away from me.
Yeah. But it's the fact that it's not what he said. right? It's other things that go into it. And I use that just as an example to understand, okay, there's other things. I'm not looking for secret information. I'm not going to just keep searching for a book that has some magical spell in it. It's like, no, like that, none of that's real, guys. Like, it's what you do with it. It's how you receive it. It's how you like apply it. It's how you kind of understand yourself and find out what works for you instead of
Yeah.
saying it worked for them. Why doesn't it work for me? It's like, I don't know, but it
We're
just
all
didn't.
different.
Because they're
And
different. Right? You'll
yeah,
never know that answer, right? So stop looking for it, right?
right.
Not every question has an answer. But I think humans are. I mean, the marketing behind like stuff like, oh, I've got the secret for you right here. Like, I guess it kind of works, but the information still has to be good and actually work and follow through.
Yeah.
Are you good on time? I don't want to keep you if you have like a hard stop or
No,
anything.
I literally, like, as you know, since you were celebrating your wife's birthday this past weekend, I just started to, like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was like, just really trying to, after that big event, that was everything that I had been working towards for the last 3 months. And people were like, so what's next? I'm like, well, I got to get to March 1st.
Well, you
And after
survived.
that, I'm not sure what's going on. I do have a question for you. I mean, yes, I have things that I need to do, but no, I'm not pressed for time today. Are you good for time right now?
I'm great. I need to go meet Nick and probably leave here. I probably need to wrap up by like 1:30 at the latest.
Perfect. That's perfect. I do have a question for you.
Sure.
You do keynote speaking, live and virtual. As I had mentioned, I was doing my event that is within my pillars of my business practice. That is absolutely a platform that I feel like I just broke into. But I would love if you have advice or if you have concepts or if you have like, what is the best way to get myself on stage? How have you excelled in that fashion in that field?
I wouldn't say that I've excelled in it other than I had several advantages of being kind of first to market and being early on a lot of
Okay.
things, including publishing a book. So like for Amazon specifically, I was selling on Amazon. I needed software that didn't exist at the time. A lot of things were changing with Amazon. So I hired a programmer. We became business partners. We let other people use the software. And all of a sudden now we're a software as a service provider when like I didn't mean to, right? And that's how we got all these questions because we were the first ones in that space. So people were asking questions about the programs. That's why I wrote the long PDF because like, oh, for Pete's sakes, guys, these same questions over and over. Just read this long PDF. I published it as a book. Now I'm published and people are really treating me like I'm hot stuff. And then I'm getting invited to go to events because there really weren't a lot of experts in that field. So
Right.
people were like, well, this guy's wrote the book. So like
You
you
wrote
don't
the
even
book.
know me. Like you
Yeah.
don't even know if I'm smart or anything, but like, well, you wrote a book, you got to be smart enough. I'm like, well, I guess, but I thought you'd vet your keynote speakers a little more. But no, they don't vet keynote speakers. They're like, you look like you're good enough, sure. Not just present like on day 3, like, no, you're the keynote. I was like, okay, it's a lot of pressure, but we'll figure it out. Uh, and I just get up there and talk about things that I like talking about. Like as I transition to talking more about self-publishing, I'd be happy to go up there and just answer people's questions and just tell people
Yeah.
about this amazing thing. Like, I can't believe you guys don't know about it. Like, for free. This is like Amazon sellers who know how much it costs to set up a product on Amazon. I'm like, no, I can do that for free. So they get very excited. Uh, if I saw an event that I wanted to speak at, either just as a regular speaker or as a keynote, what I would do is I would contact them. I would make sure that my social media profiles were maxed out in terms of being on brand. Like if they look at your profile on Instagram, they're like, oh, she's a published author and this is what she specializes in. Make it really simple for them and then say, look, I saw your event. I look forward to coming. If you need speakers, I am well prepared. I also would be happy to bring X number of books to give away. If you need help, selling tickets, I'd be happy to, share with my social media. If you want to give me like a tracking link so you can see how many sales come through there. And even say, I don't need an affiliate link. Like I don't need to make money off of your ticket kind of thing. Because some people, I just think it's better to not ask for an affiliate link, especially if you want to go speak. And just kind of put yourself out there and kind of leave yourself there. Like, if you need speakers, I'm available. I'm experienced. I've done it before. And they just glance at your social media profiles. They'd be like, okay, yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I'm sure she would be fine on this topic. And maybe
Yep.
give them like a little range of topics. I can talk about these 3 topics in general. And just keep putting yourself out there and just be like a helpful, friendly, kind of asset to them because you're wanting to promote their their topic, right? Whatever their event is about,
Right.
you're like, I'm all about self-improvement and personal development, and being published author will help separate you from other people.
Yeah.
If you can see other people that have already are on their list for speaking, connect with them, message them, and say, hey, I saw you speaking at this event. I'm planning to attend. Even if you don't attend, you just say you're planning to attend. I'd love to send you a copy of my book, just because I really like what you're doing. Just look them up a little bit, do a little bit of research on other speakers, and compliment what they're doing. Offer to send them a copy of your book, and it's just kind of throwing a lot of things out there and hoping that something sticks.
Yeah.
Nick might know if there's kind of like a speaker match service, the way there is kind of like a podcast match service.
I mean, like the service that he provides. There's got to be.
There must be somebody kind of helping connect people, because if I want a speaker for an event, there's got to be a place where I can go where I can find a list of speakers.
Yeah, there's a couple that I found. I think it was just when I was early on, and I've stepped away from that for a hot minute because there's only 8 other things on the fire right now that
Sure.
I'm trying to pay attention to. But I do really, I think from this my inaugural debut, if you will, once I have it's all in here. It's all right here. I just picked it up yesterday. And so I haven't even opened the box yet. That's the whole speech, the whole event on one big fat drive. So
You could chop that up, and use it for all kinds of things.
So I'm going to create a sizzle reel with that, and some of the like my photo shoots and then my dress rehearsal and things. So I'm going to have somebody throw a sizzle reel together for me, which I think is going to be huge. And then I'm going to invest in more thumb drives than I could possibly ever imagine.
Sure.
And put packages together. You're absolutely right. And send them along, and send them to Oprah and Jimmy Fallon, and get them to and just keep sending the stuff out there. Because in all honesty, like, I've been watching Oprah with Jamie Kern Lima. So Jamie Kern Lima just came out with her second book called Worthy, and Oprah is all over it like a rash, and it's awesome. I have not gotten Jamie's book yet. However, I read her first book and I loved it. But as I was reading it, I thought, I'm doing this just as good, if not better. And so I want to be able to go to Oprah and say, I know you love Jamie. And I think she's a fantastic person and all of these things. Read my stuff, read my story. Let me know what you think. And let's see if there's something that we can do here. How can I connect with your readers? What avenue have I missed that aren't billionaire makeup women that have sold their $1 billion company to L'Oreal? Who can't relate to that?
That's a good aspect to go down. Yeah.
Who's the struggling entrepreneur that's just really happy she made payroll this month? All those types of that went and wrote a book. And so that's what I'm going to do. But I really like your idea of even publishing more books and bundling things up and putting a nice bow around it, sending a package along.
Oh, definitely do that. It's something it caught Nick by surprise when I said this to him. I said, Amazon packages have a 100% open rate. And he was like, dude, that makes total sense. Because if you're thinking like an email marketer, and you're like, you got 30, 40, 50% open rates, you're like an email marketing wizard.
Yeah.
And like, that means half the people are not even opening your email. Right. And you're still the best in the world at it.
When you say Amazon packages, what do you mean when you say that?
When you ship somebody your book, right? You can have Amazon ship it in an Amazon package to any address almost in the world. So they're going to open it.
Oh, got it. Amazon packages get opened all the time.
Amazon package. Even if you order something by accident, you come home, you're like, I don't even know what I ordered, but you're in like a good mood. You're like, sweet, I got it. And I think it's part of like human psychology. Like no one is like, yeah, it's a physical product, right? It's in a package. It's almost like wrapped. It's like almost like a present. Like I don't know what's in here, and I'm going to get something. Versus I don't know what's in my email, and I might get a PDF. Like no one ever says that. Like no one cares. But a book, the fact that you can get your book into someone's hands for under $7, and then it's going to be delivered, so you can follow up with them after it's delivered and be like, hey, did you get a book? Did you get a package in the mail? I sent that to you. And they're like, oh, thank you so much. Because I looked on Amazon. It's like $20. Like, this is not a cheap gift. It's like, I got a few tricks up my sleeve to where it doesn't cost me that much. Right. But you don't tell them that. You just leverage that as a marketer.
I might turn one of my extra bedrooms into a whole marketing, like,
You could. Well, I want to tell you some of the things about Kindle that I'm guessing you might not know before we have to
Yeah.
stop. So with KDP, you can make your book free for 5 days out of 90 days, right? With the KDP Select program. So you can get, so in those cases, I always recommend, like, tell them it's your birthday. The presents are for you. And if you want my book for free, enter your email here. And then you just give them an autoresponder that goes straight to Amazon. It's completely free download. It'll be free for either 24 days or 24 hours, or you can do a 5-day block. I usually do like 5 individual days to kind of like make it a little special. But it's just straight up free on Amazon. But even though it's free, as people download it, whether they read it or not, you'll go up in, this is just for the Kindle, not for paperback. You'll go up in sales rank, right? So you'll be the number 1 seller in, motivation, whatever category you're in, just because you gave away like 50 or 100 copies. And now you can take that screenshot and be like, hey, look, I'm the number 1 bestseller. And you get your book into people's hands. And if you add anything to your book, or if you have to change anything, to like really make it a clear incentive in the first 5 to 10 pages of get on my email list, because if you don't, you're going to miss out on all this awesome stuff. Get on my email list so you can get my 7-page PDF resource guide and my workbook, whatever it might be. But really encourage people to take some kind of action when they get your book. So that's just straight up free. The other way that you can do it is you can drop your price to 99 cents. Then you can go in. This doesn't work on mobile. You have to do this on desktop, and buy copies of your book, right? So you can go in and buy 100 copies of your book if you want.
My book?
Your book. Yeah. So you drop it to 99 cents. Go buy 100 copies. It'll cost you $99. That doesn't work for sales ranks. That's not going to boost you in sales. However, Amazon is then going to give you 100 unique individual Kindle redemption links for your book. Now you put your price back at $9.99. And now you have this file, right? You have 100 links that you can send. You can say, hey, everybody, when you join my email list, or hey, if you buy the book off of Amazon, send me your receipt, or copy and paste your order ID, or just tell me, because really nobody's going to lie about this. And I will send you the Kindle version for free. It's a $10 value. And people are like, hey, that's cool. I was going to buy the book anyway. So then you give them the link. They download it. It's completely legit through Amazon. Kindle book is added to their account. They can see it's $9.99. They're like, dang, Amanda, you sure you want to give out all these $10 books? You're like, hey, relax. I only spent 99 cents per book because I'm the author and I don't know what I'm doing.
So I dropped the Kindle down to 99 cents,
right,
not the actual book.
No, the book can't go that low. You're going to have a minimum.
Okay, I got stuck on that for a second. So I dropped the Kindle down to 99 cents. I buy 100, so I spend $100.
Yep. But now you have 100 links that you can give out.
That's pretty cool.
So say I get your event, right? You can say, hey, everybody, my gift to you is the Kindle version. It's $10 on Amazon. However, how many people are here? 100 people? Dang, I didn't think I was having to give $1,000 books away a day. But hey, that's what I'm doing, because $10 is 100 people here. $1,000 gift that I'm giving to you. No, it costs you $100 because you dropped the price to where you bought it. So as the author, you're able to leverage that difference in price and use it to say, join my email list and I will give you the Kindle version. Buy the physical book. I will give you the Kindle version. Hey, everybody that's listening on this podcast, if you go to my website /book, I will give you the Kindle version. And you're able to collect email addresses for 99 cents.
So this is right in the marketing thing where it says run a price promotion, start a Kindle countdown or a free promotion.
It's a little bit different than that. So the Kindle you can use the Kindle countdown to do 99 cents. You can do it for like 10 minutes if you wanted, just to make your purchase. Or if you want, you can do a Kindle countdown and go to 99 to 199 to 299. Yeah. I haven't had much success with that because my books, people are either going to buy my book or not. They're not like, I don't know about 299. Like, no, they'll buy it either way. And then that's where you have the free giveaways. But if you do free, I always recommend get their email, like have some kind of benefit to you. Like don't just post on social media, hey, it's free. Even you can, and you'll get the benefit of going up in sales rank and going up on the bestseller charts. But you might as well get the email as well.
Right.
So just different strategies to it. And the other one, like I say, for 60 days, you can return the Kindle books that you buy. You can see if they're redeemed. So if you gave somebody a link and like you look 2 weeks later, they didn't redeem it, you can say, hey, redeem your link or I'm gonna give it to somebody else. Right. So that way you're not wasting money or losing money. And of course you can buy it at full price if you want. But I would much rather buy my own book at 99 cents instead of $10. I mean, you'll get the royalty on the back end, but it's still, you're going to pay more. I don't know. I'm not thinking of the royalty off the top of my head on a $10 Kindle book. It's like 300 pages, but
not much.
It's not going to be a ton.
No.
So it's just easier, make it as cheap as possible. And this is like the bonus 2.0 version that people don't think about. You can do this with other people's books. So that Keepa website that I told you about,
Yeah.
you can see the historical price on other people's Kindle books. So if you're like, hey, has Nick ever put his book on sale? Hey, Nick sometimes puts his book down at 99 cents. Looks like he does it like twice a year. Hey, Keepa, send me an alert when Nick drops the 99 cents because I want to buy 300 copies of it and bundle it with my book. And now, hey, join my email list. You're going to get Nick's $10 book and you're going to get my $10 book just for joining. And it costs you $2
Do
to be
you
able to
run
give this away.
like do you run like webinars on this stuff to walk people through these things? You should if you don't already.
Not as much as I should. This is like the catch-22 of being in like the perfect business to where like I like talking about this stuff. I like sharing this information
Yeah,
to
because
where
you're
it's
good.
like people are like,
too.
hey, can I like hire you to do this? I was like, I guess you can, but like I just told you how to do it for free. But sure, I'll do it for you for money if you don't want to do it yourself.
Yeah.
That comes up all the time. But it's like these are things people just don't know. Until you're an author, none of this matters. Like no one
No,
cares. Like if I
none
told this
of
to
it matters.
somebody, they'd be like, "Oh, stop talking, Chris Green. We don't care about your free Kindle promo." But when you're an author, you're like, "You mean
Tell
I
me
can give my
more.
book away? You mean I
Tell
can
me
bundle it?
more.
And I could? I mean, could you imagine having like 2 or 3 Kindle books? Say, hey, just buy my book, and then fill out this form, and I will give you $50 worth of Amazon retail value." Right?
Yeah.
Like they can look at the regular. You don't give away the book or the Kindle books until the price goes back up to regular retail. So there's so many fun things that you can do with your own books as well as with other people's books.
God, I need a marketing manager to handle all of these things because it's an entire market. It's an entire career choice. But
Sure.
God, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's just a matter of kind of having like a strategy session to be like, hey, what are you trying to do? Like I talked to someone earlier today, and their target customer is very niche, very niche.
Yeah.
Not niche in a bad way, just niche in a different way. To where your
Yeah.
niche is very broad, saying, I don't like. It's not even like yours is broad and hers is not broad. Yours is just broader than hers. So you would have a different strategy. Like
Yeah.
getting her book in as many people's hands as possible doesn't make a lot of sense because not everybody or not as many people have the problem that her book solves, right?
Right.
So there's more people who have the problem that your book solves. So yes, getting your book in as many people's hands as possible for the lowest price, lowest cost to you as
Yeah.
possible has the biggest upside for you because you're trying to build an email list where you can say, look, I'm starting a group and a membership and my course is coming out and all these different things, where this other person has a different strategy. So
Right.
it's just different, so that's why it's not a matter of saying, here's the one thing every author should do with their Kindle book. Like, well,
Not the same.
some authors, some authors should do it a different way. So I do feel I've gotten pretty good at it.
It's incredibly like what you have. I literally am like, all right, strategy session with Chris when I know my brain can handle all of this marketing information where I'll be able to take notes like a crazy person and get it
Yeah.
all in there. But it is, you are such an incredible resource to know. Like, I'm thrilled that Nick connected us because it's like, this is great. And yeah, I mean, it is a pleasure to have met you. I can tell you that right now because
This was fun.
and like I was saying before, like the days before leading up to my event, everything was happening at the right time frame. And right before this call, I had a call with my strategist from BBG, and we touched on half of the things that you and I have just discussed in the format and the fashion where she was like, this is how you want to go do, and then you want to say, and it's like, okay. And we are just flowing right through exactly what I needed today, 4 days after my event or 6 days after my event happened, for me to just say, all right, Amanda, you've now come down. It's time to get the next rocket ship ready.
Yep.
It's time to get everything else organized so you can just do it again.
Yep.
So,
Step one,
so
step
cool.
two, just
So
keep
glad.
moving forward with it. Yeah, you
Yep.
can imagine like Nick and I together, we're pretty good with
I
books and
I think
marketing
so.
and yeah.
It's
So
so
it'll be fun.
people that like books aren't geeks anymore. There's so many amazing people I've met through this whole book thing, and it's just so awesome. I love it. I love it.
Oh, did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
The people who want People who are interested, they may want to get a free Kindle copy of your book. They may want to buy your book from Amazon. People who want more information about you and your book and what you're doing, where is the best place for them to get that information?
Best place would be my website, which is amandagreaves.com. That's AMANDAGREAVES. And you'll find information about myself, my story, my book, my speaking, my courses, all of it. And I can't wait to meet you. It's been great. It really, like I said,
fun
it's a
stuff.
pleasure to have met you and to get to know you and understand what it is that you do as well. So this really has been an honor. And I'm very excited to get moving on some of the pieces of advice that you shared.
Well, we will follow up. We'll book another call and we'll talk marketing and Kindle and promotion. And yeah, we'll keep the trajectory of your current path going in the positive direction.
Great. Well, I can't wait to
meet
you in person too. Thank you so much, Chris. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Authorpreneur Podcast. If you'd like more information about this episode's guest, you can find links to their books, websites, and social media profiles in the show notes and video description. If you're an author or business owner who's interested in learning more about how you can use books and published author status to market and grow your business or personal brand, or if you're an aspiring author looking for more information about the publishing process, you can find more information and request an author audit at authorpreneur.com. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you'd like to recommend someone, please reach out via email to chris@authorpreneur.com. Remember, a book is just a book, but when it's your book, it's an asset. #Authorpreneur.